I think kind of gave a lot of us, myself included, this idea that like that's like the end point. That after that happens and you cross that bridge or you jump that broom, so to speak, there's no hard work that comes after that. It's just perfect, like placid.
If it's
We gotta
challenging,
fight.
we gotta fight for it.
Yeah.
And that he's gonna change for me. And I'm gonna be the one that
A lot
he
twist.
changes, So that did kind of set me up for failure from the get-go. Did you not like Beauty and the Beast? Beauty and...
Beautiful soundtrack. It's a tricky one. Because Beauty was so in love. She was ready to shack up with a wild animal.
Hey Flex fam, welcome back to another episode of Flex in the City. I'm Rada.
And I'm Lisa, and this is episode 53.
Today's episode is quite an interesting one.
As we stall to remember what it actually is.
It could be one of those that, gets contrasting opinions about.
Sure.
And it's this idea of, is chivalry dead? And have we come to a point in our lives where we're more about independence and less about depending on other people? Do we need chivalry? Is it something that we even appreciate anymore? And I would love to, as we're on that topic, I do want to touch on a little bit of romance.
Okay.
Because I think with independence, interdependence, maybe we have lost a little bit of that romance.
But with romance, it comes into codependence also.
Yeah. If you look back at your childhood, what were you exposed to when it came to romance and this idea of what it is to be in a relationship or to have a relationship? And I'm talking everything, like think back to like
on the street
or even
or
like
movies.
Yeah, like Disney movies.
Or like fairy tales.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously that was a common like source of exposure for a lot of us who were growing up back then. What I know now when I look back in hindsight is I was exposed to a different sort, but certainly what I classify as romance now between my parents. I just didn't realize what it was when I was a child. But now when I remember those moments, I'm like, oh, like those little things that they did for each other, or how they used to like dance to their old records, and I used to be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like
now you appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't want to see it, but yeah.
But you are the one now dancing to records with your man in front of your kids. Not records. Spotify
we actually do have vinyls and a turntable.
Oh, I love that.
I just had an epiphany. I'm like, oh my God, I am totally like my parents. I would classify them as codependent. But anyway, having said that, so yeah, I mean, obviously, growing up, the more, and I say growing up, so now teens getting older, my most vivid exposure to romance, as we're calling it, was movies and books. And I think a lot of us have this or grew up with this like Cinderella mentality, and as long as you have this happily ever after, which was always classified as marriage, and like the story ends there, or the couple gets together in the end, the movie ends there. I think kind of gave a lot of us, myself included, this idea that like that's like the end point. That after that happens and you cross that bridge or you jump that broom, so to speak, there's no hard work that comes after that. It's just perfect, like placid symbiosis. And
that's literally when the work starts.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's given us a lot of this jarring like surprise when you do get into marriage. It's a whole different ballgame. But what I did classify romance as is when I was younger was like, oh my God, cover my eyes, people kissing. So like the affection, but also I think chivalrous part of it. So man bringing woman flowers.
Putting the jacket on the floor
Oh,
on a puddle so that they don't, get their
and
feet
I was
wet.
like,
Opening
I always
the doors.
thought about that one too, and I was like, okay, that's your man. So what are you gonna do afterwards? Like he's gonna put that muddy jacket back on, and you guys are gonna go to dinner.
I don't think they ever pick up the jacket. Don't you notice they just walk by? Like she walks on it, and then that's it.
See, that gives me a new take on an old story. See, I thought is he going to pick it up and then you're walking with this guy that has this muddy jacket and it messes up the whole night? If he leaves it there, that goes beyond the chivalry. See, because now it's not only that he's thinking about your welfare, but he has so much disposable income that jacket that he was wearing
Doesn't need it.
don't matter. And he just throws it over the puddle. He's like, leave it. That changes that whole story for
That
me.
whole dynamic.
Because I was like, oh, I don't need that. Like, you know what? If I'm not fit enough to jump over the puddle, that's for me.
Yeah.
But you have just given me a new perspective.
That's
in that
just the way I
moment.
look at it.
Disposable income.
Yeah.
How about you? What was your, I guess, first foray into deciding what romance was for you when you were younger?
I would say it was all the Disney movies I was exposed to. Like if you think of Beauty and the Beast, if you think of Aladdin, all of those. And it was always what?
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Why? What'd I say? What'd I say?
The Beast.
Did you not like Beauty and the Beast? Beauty and
beautiful soundtrack. It's a tricky one. Because Beauty was so in love. She was ready.
Yeah.
To shack up with a wild animal.
I mean, but that was her like seeing beyond that, seeing past that.
I know.
And she did also get his backstory, didn't she? Like, wasn't she told he was once a prince?
Yeah, because she saw the pictures of him. Yeah.
So
but I'm like, girl, you were ready to do it when you thought he was never going to turn back. You were ready to sign up for this for life. And I'm like, I thought you were a smart girl. You read a lot of books. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it was the whole, like, I'll take you however you are, even if, you know, the world perceives you as this terrible beast. I see your heart. So I definitely get that. But yeah, these were the,
that's what, like, that was my exposure, you know? And then even if you think of even like music videos, like MTV or like the premise of it always was there was a guy chasing a girl. Or something like that, you know?
It make me feel. He was literally stalking her,
you know,
like down the street.
Yeah. And so, but I think if we went back to like the Disney movies, it does show this element of, okay, the girl is in distress, and the man is going to come and save her. And so, to add to your, you know, they get to the end and it's happily ever after. It's almost like they went through so much work to get to that point.
But now the work is done.
Then now the work is done and they're good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're right. There's adversity before
the actual
they coming together and then the marriage and the end.
Yeah.
Which in a way is kind of true. Because if you do go through the adversity together and you're like war buddies together, I think there is more strength that can come into that union at some point. Doesn't mean that there's no work, but I think it can sort of give you a better picture. But I don't think the juncture is the marriage.
No, that I agree with. That I agree with. But
or the juncture is the wedding.
I think that also set me up for future relationships in a way where I approach relationships thinking if it's challenging, we gotta fight for it.
Yeah.
And that he's gonna change for me. And I'm gonna be the one that
a lot
he changes, you know? So that did kind of set me up for failure from the get-go. Because that's not the case, you know, like you're usually going to choose people who are already telling you they don't want to commit, but you think in your head they're going to commit because Beauty and the Beast made it work and he was a freaking beast.
He changed literally forms for this woman. Okay. Changed into a different species for her. And you can't even change your habits.
No.
Yeah, this is true. It did set us up for failure. And I think there's something I read a while back that said a lot of women go into marriage thinking that he's going to change. Like, yes, he's great. These little things I can change or he can change. He will change with this hopefulness for a potential. And men go into marriage thinking she's never going to change. And so both people are disappointed because the man's like, I showed you who I was. This is me.
Yeah.
And he's like, how come you don't look like you did when you were 25 when I met your ass? When you were fun and like, you know, had all this energy.
Before life got in the way.
Before life and perimenopause. Like, why? Aren't you the same person? So I think this is where you get like that whole Mars-Venus disconnect. But yeah, I think it's certainly a lot there's the biggest part of the story is the untold part, I think,
Mhm.
with what we were fed growing up. But I do think it gives us some insight into social behavior around coupling. And even to this day, we still have so many remnants of those sort of fairy tale happily ever after recreations that happen. I
Like
mean,
what?
like Bridgerton. Even
Ugh,
if you look at regular shows as well, there's always this sort of central romance and like this angst and this build up, The Office with
Pam
Jim
and
and
Jim.
Pam and
Yeah.
like they build it up and then, like they do have a bit of the after marriage sort of story of the difficulty, but like in every single sort of genre you find it. And like Bridgerton is a great example because that's totally modernized in terms of plot lines,
Mhm.
but we love it because it gives us this like permission to nod to this old chivalry and this and that's we were just talking about it before, like that's part of what kind of makes it hot is
Like
like,
how they
wow,
talk to, like
they
how
how
the
like
men talk to the women, you tantalize me. Like,
Woo!
like that's
Because of the restraint and the passion, like, at the same time, the
yeah.
restraint of the time and the social propriety, but then also the fact that they are so impassioned that the restraint is, like, almost coming apart is, like, yeah, that's very well written. I mean, Shonda Rhimes.
Chapeau,
Mm.
Shonda. She knows what she's doing.
Mhm. But even with something as well written and as, more cerebral as, like, Scandal again, Shonda, sorry, this was not planned. But you have this woman who is super independent, super capable. The whole show is about her being so capable and
Yes.
literally being the anti-nuclear
Not meeting anybody.
family, like wife of somebody. And the series, spoiler, if you have not watched Scandal or you don't remember how it ends, stop here, fast forward 10 seconds. She ends up with the man that she has struggled with throughout the whole series at the end.
That's
Like,
true.
so,
That's
it's still
true.
this happily ever after feel. And so I feel like we have it so deeply ingrained that we chase it even in our entertainment, which then, like, life
Translates
imitates
into
our
real life. Or
exactly.
we hope that it
Yeah.
translates into real
Yeah. It
life.
certainly translates to our expectations on some level
Yeah.
in real life, unless you consciously, like, say, I'm not going to buy into this. I'm going to try and adopt a more realistic view. It can just carry you with it. So,
I mean, I'm of the mindset that I'm okay with having, like, believing in that romance, like having a little bit of romance in
what
our
means
lives.
romance to you now at your age now? What does that mean?
At my age, after 18 years of marriage,
Doing the dishes
no,
for me is so hot.
no, like coming home with flowers or saying, "Hey, let's go out for dinner," you know?
Yeah,
Like
the
the
thoughtfulness.
thoughtfulness, and I think that's and we'll get into this, like, modern day chivalry and what that looks like now. But I think that, like, that for me is a big deal now, is to be able to
Mhm.
just have these little moments, especially after you've had 3 kids, and, like, we all know, like, once you've had kids, the dynamic in the relationship is gonna change no
Completely,
matter what, you know?
completely. If you're actually parenting, yeah.
Yeah, so whereas your focus might have been your partner, the focus now becomes on the kids, and it's another world. Like, there
Yeah,
is no time for me and you. There is no time for us.
you have to
N
literally etch out
Yeah.
tiny little windows
Yeah.
of it.
So,
It's
I
hard.
think now that the kids are older, like, we actually can appreciate each other, and we can go back to this whole, "Okay, well, let's date each other again." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let's
that's
get to
fun.
know each other.
And you literally have to
Yeah.
because you're a different
You're
person than you
different.
were when you were
Yeah.
dating in your 20s.
Yeah.
And now you've gone through you've gone through everything else in between. You're different. You have
Yeah.
to relearn each other
Yeah.
and
And
yourselves.
and I think you and I also can agree that we come from 2 cultures.
Mm,
I know a little bit about your mom. Your mom is very strong and very independent and worked your entire
yeah,
life. Like,
yeah.
I didn't have that.
Mhm.
But in terms of cultures, like, we do come from cultures where the woman is at home, takes care of the
Yeah,
kids, and
and
is
that is
very
our culture as well.
yeah,
She was an aberration,
yeah,
so
and is
yeah,
very dependent on
male
the male
provider.
to provide, to take care of things. So I did grow up feeling like that's not what I want.
Mm.
I do wanna have independence. I do wanna be able to provide for myself because it's something that, you know, you're an Arab living in a Western world. You pick up a little bit of these, traits,
Behavioral.
behaviors from the
Yeah,
Western
yeah, yeah,
world,
of course.
and so I did feel like, no, I don't wanna depend on a man. I want to depend on me and me alone. But now that I'm married and, like, for me, I'm like, no, like, I am okay leaning on my partner, my husband, but I also know that I can do it.
Right.
So it's like I
And
have the
I
best of
feel
both
like
worlds,
yes, I feel like that is the best of both
but
worlds.
I'm still, and you guys let us know in the comments, but I'm still okay having my husband come to me and be like,
I got
"I
this.
got this."
Hottest thing
You
ever.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Huh, yeah,
it's hot. It's hot.
to feel taken care of. And I know lots of friends who are, I'm sure you do too, who are, divorced and are single parenting. And I've had a lot of my friends just tell me, "I just want someone to take care of me."
Yeah.
Like, they've shown that they can do it, they can take care of themselves, they can
And you
provide for
know
their
you
kids,
can.
but they still go, "I just want someone to just to take care of me for once."
Because no one's asking, "How are you doing?" No
Yeah,
one's asking, "What do you need?"
yeah,
And you're giving and providing for everybody else if it's a household. You're giving and providing for everybody else if you're a single parent. And your needs come last, even for yourself.
mhm,
So you're not checking in with yourself because there's no time to figure out what you need. You need to get shit done. That's
yeah,
what you need.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
And
such
that's
a
ingrained in
luxury.
us anyway as women, whether we're married or single or whatever, or single parenting, divorce and single parenting.
Yeah.
Like, it's ingrained in us anyway that we have to take care of everybody else before we can take care of ourselves. And
Yeah.
even then,
And
taking
certainly
care
in
of
our
ourselves was not
cultures.
even an option.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, you handle this and then you can take it. No, it was just like,
No,
you
it
do
was
this,
you
take care of your
don't
husband, take care
matter.
of your kids.
Yeah.
You don't matter.
You keep it moving.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it in episodes before where we
Yeah.
say that there's even a guilt that you have when you do something for yourself
Yes.
because you're like, I could be like cleaning the house today, but I went to get a massage. Oh my God, I can't tell anyone, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And we sometimes even, not between us, but I mean, as women, we perpetuate that guilt for each other. And we're like, oh,
So,
your nails done,
so,
but I see your kid ain't got that haircut yet. Like, you know what I mean?
man, we gotta be
Suspicious.
nicer to
Yeah,
each other,
we're the
ladies.
worst. We're the worst.
Wow. But it's true
Um,
what you say.
yeah, yeah. And so we're responsible absolutely for perpetuating it. But I think, yeah, you make a really good point about that perfect balance of the two where you're like, I know I got this. I know I can do it if I have to. I've been doing it. I've done it. I've proven that to myself. But I think it's twofold. One, it's lovely to be taken care of. It's also, I don't know, some may argue this. I think for me anyway, I would say it's like biological almost to feel a sense of submission. You feel, and Jill Scott said it really well when she was doing an interview about her new album, where she said, I want to feel like I can let you drive and close my eyes. Like that. Like I know
Wow.
that you got it to the point where I can close my eyes while you drive in life.
Yeah.
That you got this to the point where I'm here next to you, but I trust you and I know that you've got this so well. I don't need to look over your shoulder. I don't need to double check anything. And I feel like that's that dichotomy that you want. You have capability and ability and independence, but you also know that, you know what, my man is manning. That's beautiful. That's what creates that will in a woman, in a female, to submit, I feel, because that is submission. When I close my eyes and I'm not nagging you and being like, red light, stop here,
Yeah.
pedestrian there, I'm submitting. And we, I feel, again, opinion, our our nature is that we want to submit to you, but I'm not going to submit to a man that doesn't look like he got his shit together.
Mhm.
So if you show me you can man your man shit, I'm going to do my woman shit and be like, you got it. I'm here to back you up.
Yeah.
In the same way, I think men also need, and we're talking about traditional, like, heterosexual binary relationships here. Men feel the need, and again, in my opinion, that they want to provide
And they wanna
because
feel needed and
needed,
wanted.
because
Yeah.
I feel like it can be emasculating to say, even if I know I can do it better, I feel like it's important to let my man know that, and this might be like polarizing. I certainly didn't always think this way, but it's important to let my man know when he steps into the house, he is the man in the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean he lords over me. That doesn't mean that he could do whatever he wants. It means that we lean on him for we depend on him to support us, but I also support him.
Mhm.
And that's how you get the dichotomy. We say the man is the roof of the house, the head, but the woman is the walls.
Mm, I
And
love
so
that.
we support him, but both parts are essential. And so I feel like you nailed it when you say it's we want to be
And
safe
yeah.
and willing to relax in ourselves, into our femininity as that male energy takes this role of ownership, not ownership of the woman, but owning the tasks of provision, but at the same time, we also want to know and need to know that we have that ability to support in any situation
Yeah.
as needed. And I think that's true power. And that's where I think you find happiness. Well, at least a beginning to happiness. I think.
Yeah. I think it's definitely finding we need to find that balance. I mean, I think now maybe we've gone to the other extreme where we don't feel like we need that,
Yeah.
and that's where the independence, you kind of lose a little bit of that connection where you don't, and it doesn't just necessarily apply to romantic relationships. It could then apply to friendships where you really
Yeah.
don't feel like you need anybody. You can handle this world on your own, and
That's a
that's
really good point.
that's it. And then I feel like there's a level of isolation that comes with that.
I could testify.
And I think we have, and we're both on the same page. Like we've said it over and over again in all our episodes that connection, community is so important, and you need that. You don't need 1,000 people behind you, but you do need, you know, strong
Core
core group of people,
support. Yeah.
friends, family, lovers, whatever it is.
Lovers. However many you want.
Lovers. Lovers.
Cast a wide net.
But like I feel like you need that, and we've kind of lost a bit of that as we're fighting for our independence and our, you know,
This, like, whole, like, "Yeah, I've got this"
I've got
energy that
this,
we have.
and I really am more about the yeah, I've got this, but I don't need to have it all the time.
Yeah, and I feel like that is also something to learn. The same way that you grow and you learn to say, "I'm gonna, like, persevere and withstand this to know that I've got it," is the same way you need to learn when it's time to say, "I don't have it today."
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask for help, or I'm going to reach out and speak to someone, or I'm going to do the uncomfortable thing and try to make friends in a city that is
Yeah.
incredibly unfriendly
Yeah.
and put myself out there. And I think that is equally strong to do that because if you guys go back to like a year, 2 years ago, when I was like seriously very isolated and you were telling me
And you
make
even
friends,
said,
and I was like,
"I don't
I
need
got
to meet
enough friends.
people."
I don't need
Yeah.
new friends,
Yeah.
which I still kind of subscribe to. If I make new friends and it's a surprise, I'm there for it. But I am more open. But I really had to learn to put myself out there because I think there is a difficulty with being independent and it almost like comes at odds with like creating those inroads and those connections with people. Like to get the two to kind of work together is really hard.
Mhm.
And
I
then
I agree with that. It is,
yeah, it is really hard. And then sometimes you feel like, oh well, I kind of reached out to people to help me through this. I should have been able to do that on my own. I know I have that conversation with myself a lot.
you
Like
reach
I
out
told you
and
even about like
they don't support, or they
no, I
support
just
you
feel
and then you
like
think, "Oh, I could have done
I'm
it on
like,
my
that's
own."
something I could have done, like, with that whole tax thing, how I told you, like,
Yeah.
I was like, "It's a tax question," and I know people come to this country not knowing, or not having, like, an in-law who's, like, a tax advisor, and, you know, they figure it out, or they go online and they figure out the information, and I'm like, "I can do this on my own," and I tried to do all of it on my own, I mean, I kinda did, but
Yeah.
I was like, "Let me, cross-check and make sure that everything is correct," and certain things I didn't know were explained to me, and then afterwards, I was like, I'm so glad I did that. But at the same time, there was a part of me that was like, you're a grown ass woman. You're 40 something
And
years
there it
old.
is.
And you could have done this on your own. Why did you need to seek out someone else's advice? Like, there's people who are younger than you who are doing it. And I, I don't know where that comes from. Because I feel like we need to get to a place where we feel like it's not trampling your independence to receive or even seek help.
Yeah.
And I don't mean seek help like professionally. I mean just even ask for help or
Just to
reach out
lean on
or
somebody if you're
yeah,
struggling with something, you need
yeah.
help, like, even just, like, being able to say, "Hey, pick up my kids," like, the simple things, like, just being
Mm.
able to lead, like, I get what you mean.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's really good that you've made that example, not just in a romantic relationship, but also with friendships. Because I think in some cases it's harder with friendships. In a relationship, it's more, I think, palatable to say, "Oh, I'm gonna share this with my spouse or with my partner. I'm gonna lean on them a little bit."
Yeah.
And that's almost more acceptable. Whereas with like friends, it's like, no, I need to try and do this on my own. I'm a grown up. I'm not gonna lean on my friends. And it's a bit sad that we've come to that, but especially considering we started with this idea of, like, at least for women, us being so helpless,
Mhm.
and then now at least our generation has embraced this, in a lot of ways, this very strong independence capability, which is great. But it's almost like we've let everything else fall and we've pushed this a lot higher in some cases. I think there's still some women who are quite traditionalist. There's some who are maybe too traditionalist and
Yeah.
they push it too far in the other direction. But I think there's some women who are like, yeah, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do anything. That's the man's role. So there's always outliers. But I think largely you have women who are very capable, very accomplished, and circumstances maybe have made us say, if I'm not going to find someone that allows me to close my eyes when he's driving, then I'm going to have to get in the driver's seat and commandeer this shit. And then we do that. And then maybe you meet someone afterwards and you're like, I'm not letting go of this wheel. I'm not sharing. And that's really hard. So,
And I think because, like you said it, we come from a generation where, if we wanna think of, like, the feminist movement and all of that, like, I mean,
mhm,
it
mhm.
started before us, but we've, like, lived through it as
Yeah,
well.
we've seen it kind of
So there's
come to fruition.
you saying, for example, I asked for help, but I could have done it myself. It's almost like this level of guilt, like, "Wait,
Yeah.
we should be doing this on our own. We've been taught to be doing this on our own." And we've seen women in our lives that aren't doing it on our own, so we wanna be different.
Right.
And now I'm doing the same thing that I said I wasn't gonna be doing.
Yeah.
So there's guilt, there's shame, there's a whole mix of emotions that come into it, but ultimately, you leaning on somebody else to help you with this tax
Hmm.
situation just meant it freed you up to focus on
Something else.
something else,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
It
And
just
provided that you use that to benefit yourself or someone else. Like, it's not a wasted action, I think.
no,
And at the end of the day, like, I'm really glad that I was certain about what I did and, but yeah, it's this sort of just this voice that I
the
think is so
wheels are
trained.
always turning.
I think you made a really good point as well in that we had these fairy tales that inundated us with this like chivalrous sort of helpless damsel in distress picture. Even like with like ancient like, European literature and, things like that. And you look at like Shakespearean.
Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so like there's not a lot of these, like, historical or literary stories in the maybe Joan of Arc. Well, there's not a lot of
Mm.
female sort of strong characters that
But
are
even those
celebrated.
were, like, kind of glazed over, like,
Little footnote
yeah,
somewhere. Yeah, like,
like,
she
a lot
was
of time was
cool.
spent on Romeo and Juliet and, like, the tragedy that was of that, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I feel
but
like
not a lot.
Joan of Arc came and went.
Yeah, really, honestly, all I know is that, like, yeah, she kind of fought and then she was burned at the stake.
Yeah,
And again, she presented as, like, a boy. I think that's how she got
she
through.
did,
And
yeah,
so, like, even for her to be able to be, and I understand it was a safety thing also, but even for her to be able to execute the strength and the ability that she had to step into a role as a
yeah,
man, and her femininity couldn't coincide
mm-mm,
with her strength.
no,
And so I think, as you say rightly, we came of age sort of in the post feminism movement start where, that bra burning era happened, but now we were sort of growing up seeing the the remnants or the fruition of whatever those women were fighting for and men. And now it's kind of morphing into whatever society is growing to become. But yeah, so I feel like we're at that crossroads, even how we discussed last week with we're the we're the bridge between the non-internet world and the new internet world. We're kind of this
Mhm.
bridge between like that old traditional chivalrous grew up seeing and understanding that traditional woman's role is, in the home and in the kitchen. And then now moving into a world where we have opportunities to do all of the same things, not aren't the same yet, that needs to be fixed, as men.
So I feel like that's a long way to go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that happen.
Yeah.
I should have never gave you money. Anyway, so I feel like we're straddling that as well. But I also feel like because we grew up like that and we had the opportunities available, we were able to say, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be
Yeah.
replicated in my own life, which is already an empowerment. But maybe there's a part of us that wanted so much to not be that we've not allowed our ability and our expertise and all of this to still exist alongside our, um, for lack of a better phrase, feminine energy.
Softness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we're learning that
We're
now.
learning that now.
Yeah, I think.
I've also noticed, so like the way that I speak to my kids, like I've said things like you don't expect your future
Wives.
partner, wives, whatever you choose to be the one that takes care of you. So like I'm still, although I want to live in my softness, my femininity, like I'm still instilling that, like this
Right.
don't expect a woman to take care of you kind of thing.
But
And I
also
know
because,
from my friends who have daughters, they're doing the same thing. Like, don't
right.
depend on a guy. Don't depend on a. So it's like, I don't know how this
What are we
generation,
creating?
I
Like,
don't know
we'll
what we're
stand back
creating with
and
this
be like,
generation, but you've already seen, like, I've seen it in like animations of this time, like
mhm.
Moana. She doesn't need anybody. She's got a freaking big old muscle dude there on this ride,
Maui, yeah, and she's like,
Maui, and she still
she saves
saves the
him.
day.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? So it's
yeah.
like that's what this generation is growing up with.
Yeah, that's such a good point too. Yeah, they're growing
So
up with
like
like these
strong,
strong female
yeah,
protagonists and completely different
yeah.
from
Which
what
is
we
not
did.
like I don't watch that and go, oh my god. And
No, I
I
love
go,
that.
yeah,
Oh,
like I
that's so
love it.
yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here going, oh Maui, take care of me.
Maui is batshit crazy. Maui's just
You
like
know, like, yeah,
batshit.
I'll drive the boat. But Maui,
But Maui,
when we get to that crazy ass whatever thing in the
yeah,
mountain,
Tefiti,
you're
yeah.
gonna take care of that.
But she's the one that ended up saving it. She's the
Yeah.
one who realized it was just, and again, I don't love this about it, but like the threat and then what they feared was just
A
like a really
woman that
angry
was
woman.
angry.
And I'm like, y'all need to stop with the whole, like the witches and Maleficent and
Yeah.
Tafiti. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
They're
we need
always
to rewrite
women.
that. But yeah, one step at a time.
Yeah.
um, she's like, she was just on her period. She was wet.
She was
She was
having a
upset.
she was having a
Slipped
day.
her brufen or ibuprofen or whatever. And she said, woof. Okay, I got my Advil.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that aside, but yeah, no, I think you mentioned
Perimenopausal. She was very
she'd been around for a while. She was
she
an
was
old bitch.
ancient.
Yeah, she was an old bitch. She was like, look,
Like you
you know
can't
what?
blame her.
And that's why she was fired. She's hot all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
It was the hot
yeah.
flashes.
She's hot.
She's having a hot flash. No one understood.
I now
She's
have
like, I
respect
just
for
want to lay down.
all the witches
That's how
of
she
that. Now
ended
I
up.
get it.
She just wanted to lay down.
Let me sleep.
Learn the lessons from the cartoon.
Oh man.
All we want to do is just lie down in a meadow.
Yeah.
Just,
Pick up our feet.
be quiet. Oh my goodness. But yeah, they're growing up in a time that is so different from ours. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they get older. But I'm of the same school of thought. I'm like, I tell my older son, fold your laundry because one, I'm definitely not going to be doing it for
Yeah.
you. But when you're living by yourself, you're not going to be that 30-year-old guy that doesn't know how to fold laundry. And you have your girlfriend coming over being like, what did your mama do that you don't know how to do
Yeah.
this? And maybe it's more ego. And like, I'm like, it's going to reflect badly on me. But I'm like, I want you to be capable and independent. I don't know, but I think I would give a daughter, if I had one, the same advice. I
Yeah.
want you to be as capable as possible and independent. That comes from how you educate yourself, what you pursue, how well you study and prepare for things, but also how you take care of your body, you take care of your space,
Mhm.
how you take care of your home. So I think like the same rules apply, but certainly that independence and interdependence. Do you think, and I like that we talk about interdependence because that means that it's like,
Kind of like a fusion. It's not like,
yes, it's not codependent.
yeah, it's not one overshadowing the other, or it's really just working together to have,
Yeah,
like, this
more
support,
symbiotic.
like, knowing, hey, when your partner comes home and you've got to deal with the kids, like, they might tell you, "Listen, I can only give you 20." And you'd be like,
Yeah,
"I got you. I got the other 80,"
I got
and
the
vice
80.
versa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just to be able to have that
Yeah, that balance.
balance.
Yeah,
Balance, I feel like, is the word of this,
right.
this whole
And that
topic.
scale shifts all the time. So like I might have 20 today. Tomorrow maybe I have 50, you got
Yeah.
50. Maybe you need me to have 80 the day after. Like
So then it's not balance is the word, but I think maybe just
I think like
being able to flow from,
awareness from like
both.
with each other, and I think it's the same thing when I talk about like feminine and masculine energies. All of us have both.
Mhm.
And so one day you might be flowing very much in your feminine energy, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a masculine energy that
Yeah.
balances that as well within yourself. And sometimes that flow within yourself is going to move as needed by your environment, as needed by your family, your partner, your job, whatever it is. And so I think that sort of
Ebb and
willingness,
flow, yeah.
yeah, that willingness to be malleable to your environment is kind of a healthier approach than
Yeah.
just saying like it has to be like this. But also understanding that not everyone has that cognitive like consciousness of like
Mhm.
I need to be more in my feminine today. I realize my partner needs me to
Yeah.
step up a bit more. And so I
And
think, yeah, that awareness, that's where I think your independence comes into it. Because maybe less so with partnerships, which it also happens in, but more so in friendships as well sometimes. There might be times when you have a gap where you're at 20%, but your friend, the person that you have in your life, might not be able to meet you at that 80%. And that's where your ability to say, I've done this, I've been through this, I have trust my, competence comes in to fill that gap
mhm.
and you have to push through. And so I think it's really important, like you said, to have that knowledge that you got this, even if you don't have to use it.
Yeah.
Um, there might come a time when you do, and then you know it's there. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's also really important to have the two and be able to move between them. But it's hard. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. I don't think it's meant to be easy.
So what do you feel like when we talk about chivalry? We've talked about traditionally a little bit what that looks like.
Opening doors,
That
paying for
jacket
meals,
on the
jacket
thing
on the
has been
floor.
life-changing to me, it's so amazing. It's like he leaves the jacket behind is a
Yeah.
whole different
Yeah.
total different change to the story. Anyway.
And even then, but, like, if we really think chivalry, like, don't forget there's even ones that, because I think initially it came about to take care of us because we were seen as kind of the weaker
Mhm, mhm.
sex and needed to be taken care of, so they would even, like, speak on our behalf, and that was considered chivalrous.
They would even change their tone, so I know that, like, in a lot of, like, European societies, they would have, like they'd be like, "Don't raise your voice, there's ladies about," you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And it's like, "What, we can't handle." I think, though, generally, in Europe especially, a lot of the women back then, they were delicate because they were squeezed into, like, you know,
These
outfits,
corsets
like
and
yeah, they were
I
fainting all the
mean,
time, so men were like, "Oh, they're fainting because they can't handle the stress."
no, we
She
can't
can't
breathe.
breathe!
They
Like,
simply couldn't breathe.
they're
The
just
poor
dying and has a
women.
headache, and yeah. And so I feel like they may be presented as weaker because, honestly, a lot of their lifestyle made them weaker than they actually
Actually
were.
were.
Because you look at societies differently. Like, I was talking to you before about in Kenya, like I know with the Maasai, traditionally a lot of them, um, when a woman gets married, she builds the marital home. So
I love
she
that.
builds the house because
With her
the
own
understanding,
hands.
yeah. And the understanding is that that's her domain. Like she is the one that decides where the kids will sleep, where the kitchen is, and so that is considered a chivalrous move. I don't know if they they obviously don't say chivalry in like traditional Maasai culture,
Yeah.
but it's considered to be like a respectful task to leave the woman to actually encourage her to do that, but also for her to exhibit her femininity
Mhm.
in a way that actually is exercised through strength
Mm.
because that shit takes a lot of strength to build these
Yeah.
houses and it's got to stay up. So I feel like, and that's why she had the strength to do it because she's not in a corset. Eating her protein and she's walking the livestock, she's
There you
exercising,
go.
she's good to go.
Oh.
Um, and so like I just feel like these ideas of chivalry obviously they shift. Um, and with us we have a lot of cultural traditions that, vary from one tribe to another, but very much based on like back in the day, maybe men fighting or feuding for women, or women
Mhm.
being like a trophy at the end of a two warring tribes, or inheriting a wife, which still happens. So, or dowry
Yeah.
traditions. So, like, you do have aspects of it that sort of have origins in feeling like women are um, a
A
prize to
prize.
be won in
Mm.
some ways, or to be fought for, or to be unfortunately, in some cases, negotiated with, and that's sort of a little bit more constant, but we've grown up in westernized with a huge Western influence, so I think a lot of our influences come from Western
Of
literature,
course.
Western so yeah, we have those references. What to you now is considered really chivalrous at this point in time in your age? Will you be like if you saw it, you'd be like
Like with my partner or just in
for
general?
yourself, or if you saw it happen, if it's something that you witnessed. For me, when I see a man get up out of the car,
Yeah, and
walk
open the door.
around, like,
That still for
so
me is
hot.
hot. And like my husband, for example, will walk me, especially if we're like walking at night, like he'll walk me to the passenger seat and open the door for me
You get in,
and get in
then he
first and
yes,
then he gets in,
yes,
you know?
yes. Men, pay attention.
That to me
Valentine's
is
Day is coming up,
yes, take
so take
notes.
notes, takes notes,
Although
takes
to be
notes.
fair, if someone had already broken into the car, I'd be the first one in the car. So I just thought of that.
And he's not gonna stay and be like, "Oh, what happened?"
I just thought of that.
Oh my
But it's
god.
still thing. I think even like opening the door to like, going.
Yeah.
But I noticed, for example, like when I go to the gym and I park in the underground parking,
Mhm.
there'll be like, say, for example, a guy in front of me and he'll hold the door open for me. But then I'm usually pretty fast going up the stairs. Like the
Yeah.
guy is still like taking his time for some reason. I think this is an example, like he was checking his phone or something. So then I got to the top and I opened the door for him. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
so
like
I feel like that's like a common courtesy thing,
yeah. And I think that's
like holding your
where,
elevator doors open.
yeah. And I think that's where the definition of chivalry has now changed,
Mm,
where it's more about being thoughtful and showing acts of kindness to others. Like you could be on a train, and I heard this on a podcast, and someone was like, it's chivalrous if someone needs hand sanitizer and you give them hand sanitizer. So it was like, like you see that somebody needs something, you think of it, and you think, how can I help that
the
person?
thoughtfulness
The
is
thoughtfulness.
the
And I
chivalrous
think
act.
that's where we've now shifted, and
Yes,
it can apply to both
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 genders in both
partners
ways.
in the
Yeah,
relationship,
because I believe chivalry, like, it swings both both ways. It goes both ways. Like,
Yeah.
I really think that it's really important for men also to feel appreciated, by their partners. I think that there's some men who would if that's something they've expressed they enjoy, receiving flowers, like, buy
Buy
that
them
man
flowers.
flowers, do it.
Yeah.
And I think the thoughtfulness is yeah, is the part that is really where you're like, "Oh, he thought about the fact that, oh, you know what? She doesn't need to, like, think about opening that car door. Let me open it for her, give
Yeah.
her one less thing to do. She's got high shoes on. Let me give her my arm and make sure that I steady her as we walk here. Let me like, that tiny, tiny little, like, pockets of thoughtfulness, I think, like, consistently build this feeling of, like, I'm actually pretty well taken care of.
Mhm.
I think if they're genuine and consistent. But for me, it's the same. The chivalrous things are so little. Like, I'm not a flowers person. I get upset when people bring me flowers. Friends, partner. My partner knows not to really buy me flowers, but friends. because I'm like, now, like, you've given me like another responsibility because
I didn't know this. I brought you flowers the first time I came to you.
you did, but that was housewarming and that is appropriate. And notice you've not brought flowers since, and I appreciate that. The thought is really something that counts. And if someone does love something, or you find that they have a need, filling that need in a way I think can be, like giving them those flowers or bringing a gift, because any way that you can make someone's or ease someone's life, their day to day, their stressors, I feel like that's a gift. If you've not even been asked.
Yeah.
So that means there's
It's
awareness.
just even
I'm
more.
watching you. I'm
Yeah.
seeing that this is something that's unsettling. I want to ease that for you. That is the epitome for me
Yeah.
of chivalry.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, that whole jacket in the over the puddle thing, I was always like, this is ridiculous. Because I thought he was taking the jacket with him, but also because I hadn't really come across streets where puddles or walking on the streets would have been a hazard.
You haven't been to Jordan.
I live in Kenya, but I don't walk anywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, puddles and potholes everywhere, but I never walk.
Okay.
Yeah. But I got here
Yeah.
where everyone walks. And if you're a heel wearer, these uneven ass cobblestone cracks in the everything, if there was someone who was like, just put down a thick carpet, yeah. For me, yeah, it's all night. My man only. Sorry.
So your man just needs to walk around with a carpet.
With a red carpet.
Just roll out a carpet wherever you guys went.
Oh, here we go.
Wait, one moment, please. Whoosh. All right.
Or it means I've noticed there's a need that when my woman is wearing her Louboutins, I need to make sure that we are not walking like kilometers to where we need to go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure that if we do, it's a place where that walk is going to be gentle to both her and her shoes. That for me is very chivalrous.
I agree.
So it just depends on what shows you that that person has been thoughtful.
Shall we take a moment and give you guys some ideas for, since it's Valentine's Day, of what could be some chivalrous acts?
Yes. As you look for that, the one thing, so based on that discussion that we've just had, I think the one thing that you can do that is going to give you the biggest highlight or insight into what could be chivalrous and thoughtful is listening. So there'll be clues, especially us as women, we will leave you clues all over the house in what we say, in our subliminal message, in our passive aggressiveness, that tell you, like, this, I wish he would do this. I wish this was something he thought about. I would like this. So listening is going to be your biggest piece of research into figuring out how to meet those needs.
So before we do that, I did have this conversation with my husband, and he sent me a YouTube video or an Instagram reel of someone talking about why men feel the need to step in and solve our problems as opposed to just listen. And it goes back to the biology. Biologically, they see us in pain or distress, and they feel like they need to save us. And so we shouldn't see it as an act of them trying to make us feel less than or whatever.
Yeah,
it's their own way of being.
Situation.
It's them being chivalrous. It's them saying, "I need to take care of you. I need to help you. I need to."
It's literally just their biology.
Yeah, it's just their biology. So that's just a little.
Wow.
I need to find that. Maybe I can even tag that.
Yeah, we'll find that.
But when you were saying that, there's a list of different types of modern day chivalrous acts, or let's call them gestures of care.
Yeah.
So one of them is saying, "That makes sense," instead of "You're overreacting." Like, how calm would we be if someone came up to us and said, "Yeah, that makes sense," instead of
end.
"You're overreacting.
That makes sense.
Don't be so dramatic." Just punked. You
feel heard. You're acknowledged. Someone has met you where you are.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So,
you're ticking so many boxes.
Letting someone vent without problem solving, I just explained why that might not always work with men, but there is a reason for why men are doing it. And it's I get it now. So now when I do talk to my husband, I'm not so offended when he starts giving me
like
solutions,
like,
you
yeah,
know? I'll be like, "Okay, I get why he's doing that," and I just kind of nod and smile and
and you can do both. So it
yeah.
can be like a like a twofold approach where you do say that makes sense. So the person already, as a woman, I can tell you that will bring my distress level down. That will bring my defensiveness down. So I'm already at a level where I'm possibly better receptive or more receptive to hearing you say, here's the solution.
Yeah. Can
So
I suggest something to you?
exactly. So create an environment that's already like more diffused by acknowledgement, and then yeah,
Yeah.
you'll have a more receptive audience.
And I think that's also a difference with modern day chivalry is that there is a lot of permission asking. Can I do this? Is it okay if I, like even when you watch TVs now, it's always like, and I think that's a lot
That's
to
the
do with
stuff that makes it so hot,
but I
actually.
mean, and a lot of it might have to do with like the Me Too movement and whatever, but they'll always be like, can I kiss you? You know? But now it's almost like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
so it's
And that
that
expression of
anticipation,
it,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that expression of,
Yeah.
like, desire, and understanding that I desire you, but at the end of the day, your consent, your autonomy is important.
Yeah.
As boring as that explanation sounds, it is incredibly hot.
Asking before stepping in. We've talked a little bit about
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
Showing up consistently, not performatively. I think that could be applied on all levels, on
Valentine's Day
family,
is one day.
friendships, like that's all of it. Like if you're really gonna say you're gonna show up, like show up
Yeah.
and be
And if,
consistent.
if you can't be consistent, like I said, sometimes you don't have that 100% or that 80% that someone might need. Being able to be aware and say, "Hey, yeah, I realize and, I don't have it today." Or if it happens afterwards, being able to say, "I didn't have it. I acknowledge that now." Like just that self-awareness. But in relationships, especially, Valentine's Day is one day out of the year. It should not be. And it's really celebrating the guy. It's this guy who was like, "You guys want to get married in secret. I'm going to you know,
Help you
make
do
that
it.
happen." He
Yeah.
didn't just marry people on that one day. He was doing this round the clock all year. That's the lesson. That he was celebrating love and showing up consistently
Yeah.
for love every day. And that's the challenge. That's the goal, I
Yeah.
think. Because consistency is also hot. Like you see that someone has done this once and you're like, "Oh, that was sweet that time." And it's done again and it's done again. And you're like, wow.
Because then that translates into the scenario that you gave earlier of I can be in the passenger seat, eyes closed, and you can drive the car. And I know because you've shown up consistently.
There's no better feeling for a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
And trust me, when a woman is in that place, emotionally and mentally, the things we will do for you.
Huh.
They
Hey. Hey.
You sip this coffee.
Let's try to keep it PG.
Take from that what you will. Hmm. But also it coincides with what you talked about biologically for men because they do want to be that person that steps up. So you're providing him the environment, follow through with his natural instinct
And we're
to
not talking like this isn't something that just showed up in the last like century or not. Like we're talking hunter gatherer days,
centuries.
like
Yeah.
hunters would go out, and try to bring something back to
Secure
their and secure
food.
food for the community and the women would kind of keep the peace in, at
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just but again, I feel like then they had the balancing act figured out.
Because if they got out of balance, they're dead.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have all of these other distractions that we have.
Somewhere
Our
along the
lives are
way that
so
shit got
yeah,
it like
the
turned
blurring.
into something else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. I have some practical everyday options here. Making
Thanks.
someone coffee the way they like it.
Hot.
She makes me coffee every time I come. And I
It's
find
different every time though.
no, but I enjoy it every time. Do you understand? Like I look forward to it. Like when I
Like a
come,
little ritual.
yeah, I look forward to it. I know that the tea kettle would have already been
Been boiled. That's right.
and you make my coffee and
We
for
have
me
this
it's
little ritual
yeah,
that
I
is
love
very
it. I
organic.
love it.
I
It's
didn't
very
even think about
chivalrous.
that. Aw.
Filling the gas tank without being asked. Picking up groceries when you know someone's overwhelmed.
Huge one, huge one. My
Love that.
actually, my partner does that for me, and every time he does it, I'm like, "I want to throw you
Yeah.
against the wall."
Yeah.
That's so hot because he started to do it when I was first here, and it was so difficult for me to leave the house because it was so overwhelming with the stairs.
Yeah.
And then, whew, I'm about to cry. And with the feeling that when I get to the register, that
Not
person's not
speaking the
going to.
language.
And so that for me was such a stressor, just being able to like get food and for
Which is
him.
something that technically would have been your
That's my
domain.
domain. Yeah.
Because he
Especially
would have
back
gone to
then, I
work.
wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah, you were taking care of the baby, and that should have been what you should be doing.
Yeah, and I wasn't working at all. I had the time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm the one that has the list. I know what we need. He's at work all day,
Yeah.
and he goes to the grocery store. Even now, when today when I needed stuff, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna hop downstairs and get stuff. I can do the groceries. He consistently will do the grocery shopping for the house, and hot,
Hot.
hot every single day it happens.
I literally, when my husband does the laundry, I'm like,
Oh, you trust him to do the laundry?
and I'll even say thank you. And he'll
That's
be like,
expert level.
yeah, and I'll be
Husbandry.
like, I mean, how hard can it be? I do have to tell him every now and then, please don't overstuff the machine because the shit stops moving after a while when it's too heavy. He'll be like, I went down to get the laundry and it wouldn't open and it just kept blinking. I'm like, yeah, you put too much in there, but it's okay.
But thank you.
Thank you. And I'll say thank you. And he'd be like, you don't need to say thank you. Like, we share this. We're doing this task.
It's just, you were expressing not that like, thank you, you've done something out of the ordinary. You're actually just like that gratitude.
Yeah.
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 And it is really, it's hot. It's amazing. That is a great one.
Yeah.
That is a great one.
Here are some ones that can apply with friendships and partnerships. Celebrating someone without comparison. I think that for us as women,
we talked about that in our episode 2 about can you still cheer for someone's success when you're still on the bench?
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for women especially.
Yeah, it
It's
is very hard for us. But I think that when we do it and do appreciate it, like, I think it's something beautiful because that's when you feel like we're really lifting each other up.
Yeah.
And I think there's something magical there that when we do support each other and have each other's backs, there's like no stopping us.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like when I see you, I mean, I find it very inspirational with everything that you've done to get to where you are and with this Pilates. with She gets like that every time I get a little emotional.
I know. No, because when you say I'm inspirational, I'm like, no, I'm
But
such a
you
train
are.
wreck.
No, but I notice like a lot of the people that I'm surrounding myself with are people that I like that motivate me, you know?
That you can grow from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see that with you. And I think that women need to get better at saying that to each other.
Yeah.
And not see it as competition or see it as, are you really saying it? Or are you saying it because you want something from me? Or is it more of like a side eye, like, oh, you're doing well, but
like performative.
yeah,
or
exactly.
underhanded.
Yeah.
And I think a good part of that is as you get more self-aware, you curate that space even better. Which is something that you've really done where you've been like, people who are not for me don't have a place in my life, in my success, and you create a space that is nurturing for you. So part of that also being able to celebrate each other is also being able to say, I want people who can celebrate me.
Yeah.
I think I posted something on the Flex page today. I said, women who open doors and are in rooms, but also like,
Beautiful.
I don't remember how it was way better written, but
go to our
open
Flex
the door.
page.
Yeah, I'll put it in
Follow
the
us.
highlights. I'll put it in the highlights. And it was
Follow
like,
us.
you open the door and you let for other women
Yeah.
to be in that room and celebrate other women in the room as well.
Yeah.
And
that's
I think
like that's my entire algorithm on my coaching page. It's like surround yourself with women who are gonna, cheer for you and have your back. I think it's so important.
And I think this has no infringement on independence.
No.
I think interdependence takes almost as much strength, if not more in some cases, than independence. Independence, you only have yourself to answer to. You know your limits, and it's very linear, I think. Whereas with interdependence, you're taking the risk that someone might let you down, but you're also taking the risk that, you might have 4 hands carrying a load that is heavy for you as opposed to 2.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a really courageous place to be. And similarly with leaning into chivalry, leaning into romance, leaning into allowing yourself to be in your feminine as a female, but also a man allowing himself to be in his feminine
Mhm.
and saying,
I
I'm
need this, or
yes,
I want this, or for
I'm
me,
overwhelmed with
yeah,
this.
yeah.
So trusting that that person in your life is going to be able to say, this doesn't make you less of a man. I'm here for you. I support you when you're killing it, and I support you when you don't feel like you are. And again, that's an expression of strength more so than just staying within yourself and not letting anyone in.
Side note,
Hmm.
do you feel like since you've been in Germany, I've been here 6 years, almost 7,
Oh, girl.
and I feel like, and I'm talking now in terms of friendships, because obviously I already have my partner, I already have my husband, I don't need to be leaning on other dudes for chivalrous acts.
Leaning on other dudes is hilarious.
He's handling that part. So in
Leaning on
terms of
other dudes is finished me right now. I
in
know you're
ter
here, babe, but
um I feel like, and I don't know if it's a European thing, if it's a German thing,
Mm,
if it's a white people thing.
here it comes. I know where you're going, but go ahead.
There's like this chivalry really is dead here.
Mm, mhm.
In terms even of friendships, I've had so many situations where, like a friend, you know, I won't see her for a couple weeks, and when I do finally see her, it's a whole list of shit that went down in the last 2 weeks, and I'll be like, "Why didn't
Why
you
didn't
ring the alarm? Like, tell."
yeah, send me
Oh,
a
because
text at least.
I don't wanna bother anyone.
Yeah, yeah. This is such a good point. I believe it is a European thing, but Germans have taken it to the nth degree. Like they have expert leveled it. It is a German thing, certainly. And I know this because even my mom-in-law mentioned to me at one point where she was like, you know, we and this was actually quite self-aware of her when she said that, like even if someone is going through a difficult time. So it was when we traveled and I told her, oh, like, well, in our culture, if there's a funeral or something, everybody from the community comes together.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was saying it's awful for the person who's grieving because you have to bring like organize food for everybody.
everything. It's
You have to
exhausting.
basically entertain
Yeah,
people who come to say sorry, but they come with spoons and cups, and you have to feed them. They're in your house. You don't get privacy. You don't get. And so I was like, I understand the tradition, but it's morphed into something horrible. And so I was complaining about that. And she was like, oh, that's so different because for us, you're so alone when you're grieving, but your angst about reaching out to ask for support supersedes your grief so much
yeah,
that you would rather sit there alone and lonely in your
and
grief
suffer in silence.
than take the possibility that you might
Yeah,
inconvenience someone
yeah.
by asking them. And then in the event when someone does come to see you, if they do, they'll say, well, why didn't you?
Why didn't you say anything?
Yeah. And so now you feel like, oh, I'm like in trouble for creating an issue. So actually, I shouldn't even complain about the fact that I'm grieving. I should suppress my emotions entirely.
Yeah.
Then it's a non-issue. And so like, I was like, wow, that's such a different take on it. And it's certainly German. And she even said it. This is how Germans are. We don't want to rock the boat in any way because it's just, first of all, it's awkward enough interacting. You've tried to have small talk.
I have.
It's cringe.
You don't wanna have small talk with me. I've tried. I really have. Any Germans that wanna do that, like,
Germans can't
find us.
small talk,
We
like, because 'cause
Yeah,
they're just like, "It's cold.
yeah,
How did the football team do?" And that's
yeah.
like it.
That's it.
And then if you actually ask someone, "How are you doing?" You're either gonna get like a, "Are you insane?"
Or a
And a wall.
full
Yeah, like, "Stop crying." Or you'll get someone who is so emotionally pent up
like
that they're like,
verbal
well, you
diarrhea.
know what? My job sucks and my boss is an ass and I've done it to that. I went to the gym and
Yeah,
there was no like machines left.
yeah,
And you're like, well,
yeah. I only asked how you're doing.
okay.
Yeah.
And so there's not this balance because there's not a practice of regulation of emotions. And so, yes, I agree. It's a very German thing for closed upness and, oh, I don't want to put anyone out. I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to seek help.
That goes back to also, like like in regards to this, I'm just going to use it. It's not a very fun topic to talk about, but the funeral example, a death in the family or whatever. It's almost like also like, why aren't the people around you
rallying together,
empathetic enough? Where is their empathy card
to say
like, hey,
she doesn't need to ask.
She doesn't need to ask.
Let's go.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do too. And I know from
but the people on the other side are saying we can't just show up because she's going to be inconvenienced if we
like
just
the
show
chicken
up.
or the egg.
So then at the end of the day, nobody interacts. The community never connects because the person who's grieving doesn't want to inconvenience her community, and the community doesn't want to inconvenience the grieving person by just showing up unannounced.
Just show up, damn it. We're telling you to show up. Just show up.
Not at my house.
Not at her house. Don't show up at her house. Oh my God.
Not at my house. But the sentiment, the people who I know I want to show up already know who they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't show up. But for me, but for each other, for your community.
For each
Absolutely.
Other.
And like break through that, like, you know what? I might make her feel awkward, but at the end of the day, you know,
the thoughtfulness,
that will linger. You can always say, oh, you know what? I can see you want to be alone. I'm going to leave. The thought that you went there, you made the effort, you showed up, you actually like took time out of your day to go to this person. It doesn't have to be grieving. It could be anything. They'll remember that.
Yeah.
They will actually be like, wow, this person actually said she might need me to be there. Let me go. That lingers. Interdependence. I think interdependence over independence, but independence must exist to create this holistic picture. So interdependence kind of like meshes together, but the two parts that make that interdependence, so individual and community and friends and partners, everyone involved is also independently capable.
Yeah.
That's the ideal.
Yeah, I agree.
Situation for me, I think.
And with interdependence, like, and again, we take the whole, you know, gender bit out of it, like, because this applies to all all genders and all different dynamics, all different relationships. You know?
So it's not just a romantic relationship. No. It's all
friendships,
across the board.
Family, it all, even between, I guess, kids as well. Like
parents and kids. Absolutely. You know, understanding that something thoughtful means a lot to your kid, you know, and being able to do that. Like, you know, my older son leaves really early in the morning and I get his younger brother ready and he gets himself ready because he's old enough to do it. But he likes me to like mousse and do his hair for embarrassing the hell out of him to do his hair for him because, you know, I do it right.
Yeah.
And I know that he's like, I'm not going to ask because I'm grown.
Yeah.
But I know that he likes that. So I'm like, I'm going to get up extra early and make sure I do that for him because it's the thoughtfulness. So it translates on any level. And so even as you come into Valentine's Day, it's not just for men to think about what to do. Ladies, partners, whoever, even friends, like think about what is difficult for the people in your life and how you can make that easier or alleviate it, or think about something that you can help them achieve that you know that they've been desiring. And do that for them, not just on Valentine's Day, but
every day. I think Valentine's Day obviously is one of those reminders to do that.
Yeah.
But like you said,
let it be like your resolution start date.
Let
it February 14th be like your January 1st. So like today, I'm going to do this for Valentine's Day, but it's the start of a pattern for me. Consistently thinking about the people I care about
and showing up for them and listening
what they need so I can show up for them in a way that is meaningful to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, not just buying flowers.
I think we can end on that note. If you aren't following us yet, please hit the follow button now. Find us on Instagram. All of our social links are in the description below. Leave us some rates on Apple and Spotify. It really does help us.
And please like,
comment
if you like this episode.
The engagement. We're going to ask for it. You know what? That's going to be your chivalrous act for us today, is to like and comment. So do something nice for us. Do something thoughtful for us. So on that note, happy Valentine's Day, whether you celebrate or not. And we'll see you next week. Bye. All right. This should be, I'm not sure how to introduce it. Okay.
It'll come. Or not. Yeah. Be along.
If I just do this, I'm gonna just point to you because
handing over to you. Noted.
Okay. Ooh, that was good.
That was so good. That felt really good, actually.